Hey,
talk about her appendages.
What's up, everybody? We figured we'd start with some intro. How's everyone doing out there? We're constantly experimenting here for the Ruckus podcast show.
Sometimes sexually.
Oh, hey. Oh. Thank you guys all for coming in. We already got 5 people in this motherfucker. I'm the DRP.
I'm Rick Dog, a.k.a. the Ricky Henderson of hip-hop.
Boo!
I'm Ted Danson.
He's over here stealing bases. What up? It's your boy Jason Logic, Force 5 in the building.
And tonight we got a special guest, Max Illidge from 40 Below Summer is going to be in a couple minutes. Really excited about this one. The guys told me not to fanboy too much, but 40 Below Summer is one of my favorite bands, so I can't wait to do this. Instagram, if you guys get a chance to go to our Twitter, our YouTube, our Facebook pages, because you're going to see the whole thing. Right now, you're just seeing our, Rick's ugly mug. And yeah.
My mom says I'm handsome.
But yeah, we're also on Instagram. So your mom's,
whoa.
Tread
lightly.
I can already see it's going to be that kind of show. But yeah, if you guys, when you guys come in, ask some comments, ask some questions, because we're going to show them on the screen. We're going to have a good time together like this. We got Killian in the house, or is it Kill Hud? Oh, what's going on, brother? All this waiting for a shit show. Of course it's going to be. Are you kidding me?
It's always a shit show.
Oh, here it goes. Already.
Amber's in the house.
There's already one.
But yeah, if you guys have questions for Max, ask him. We're gonna have some good times. We're gonna talk. We're gonna drink some drinks, and it's the Ruckus podcast show. You never know what's gonna fucking happen. Penelope's in the house.
Exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, is it cool to bring Max in? All right.
Let's do it.
What's up, brother?
How you doing, guys?
How's it going? Max in the house.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm alive.
Alive. That's good. After the last couple years, that's good.
I never imagined myself being this old.
Come on, man. We're probably the same age, so let's not talk about that.
No, I think I'm a little older than you, just a little.
No, I don't think so, man. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to discuss ages off.
Were you born in the 70s or 80s?
70s, brother.
Donnie's
50. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Donnie's got his ARP card. So I don't know how close you can relate to that, but
I don't have an ARP, bro. You got to be. I know you got to be over 50. I'm not over 50 yet.
No. Danny Diablo's not even 50 yet. His 50th is next month, so he's the oldest of the bunch, I think, out of all of us here.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not. I still got a few more years.
All right. Yeah, me too. So let's drink to that. I'll drink to not being 50 yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, shut up.
I've switched from the Stella to a Presidente. So.
Oh shit.
Fancy.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
Dominican beer.
What nationality are you, Max?
I'm actually. My father's mostly West Indian. From like St. Martin and Martinique, which is right near Jamaica. Yeah. That's where his grandfather, came from. And my mother was actually, she passed away a few years ago, but she was a Russian Jew.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I'm basically half island boy.
Yeah.
But I'm actually legit. That's where my roots.
Yeah. You're born and raised in Jersey too, right?
No, I was actually born in Manhattan. I lived in Manhattan. I lived in Manhattan for the most part until I was about 11.
Yeah.
And then almost 12, and then I moved to Edgewater, and I've just moved around Edgewater. I've lived in probably like 12 different apartments, over the last 30 something years. So,
Was Il Nino? They came up at the same time as you from Jersey, then, right? Or no? When you
Yeah. They're from pretty much the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Christian lived maybe about. I mean, now he lives out west, but he lived maybe about 2 miles from my house.
Hmm.
Oh, no shit.
You know, Laz always lived in Hoboken. Dave lived in Jersey City.
Yeah.
And
That's where Danny's based in Jersey City right now. I'm in Jersey all the time. So my guitar player Tim from MOD, he lives in Jersey, but they all know you. All the Jersey.
Yeah, I know Tim.
Yeah.
I know Tim.
Oh, I know Christian knew him, but I didn't know if you knew Tim or not. Okay.
Yeah, I know Tim.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Angry Corpses.
Angry Corp, yeah. Formerly MOD, whatever. We changed it a few times.
But yeah, no, Tim's been around forever.
Yeah. He's
Shout out to Tim.
yeah. Shout out to
What up,
Tim.
Tim?
Yeah.
Shout out to Tim.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Puerto Rico or something right now.
Yeah, he's always
traveling.
yeah, he was in Puerto Rico last week.
Selling merch from an iPad.
Yeah, he was.
If he was in Puerto Rico, he should look up Hector. Hector opened his own restaurant. It's called Graciani's.
Oh, no shit. I didn't
Yeah, Hector's been doing that for a while, like the restaurant shit.
So
He was doing it here.
Him at all, huh?
Hector actually worked his way up to being a manager at Son Cubano, which is like a very popular restaurant here in New York and New Jersey. There's a few of them.
Yeah.
Very upscale. Like the Yankees and shit used to eat at the original one that, like Jeter and A-Rod, this is back, and in between albums, like he would work there. And eventually when we stopped touring in whatever it was, 2006, he started, working his way up, became a manager. Then he moved to Puerto Rico and opened his own restaurant. This is like his second or third restaurant. Cause he had a restaurant that got damaged during the hurricanes a couple of years ago. So, but he finally got, his own restaurant back. So, shout out to Hector, by the way.
Yeah. Fuck
I
had no idea about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, Hector's been, doing that for a while. I'm smoking a joint. So. Well, what's left? What's left of a joint?
You smoked that right before you got on?
Yeah, I mean, I've been smoking on and off pretty much since I got off work. But today was a really long day.
Yeah.
But aside from work, I had to do a lot of running around. So as soon as I got in, I just started smoking.
I don't know how you guys on the East Coast handle the fucking traffic all the time. Every time I'm there, I'm about to lose my mind every time I drive on the East Coast. It enrages me how much fucking traffic there is.
You get used to it after a while,
Everybody tells me that.
It does suck, though. I'm sorry. No, listen, don't get me wrong. In Jersey, where I live, North Jersey, it's, probably worse than most places, that I guess you're talking about. But
yeah,
compared to the city, Manhattan, forget it. It's a shit show. And, the one good thing about COVID was for about a little over a year, Manhattan, like there was no traffic. It was great.
I heard, yeah.
It was great. You just you could go from one end of Manhattan to the other end of Manhattan in like 8 minutes. It was
that's crazy.
Try that shit today. Like, forget about it.
Someone just
pre-pandemic, it was. It's still not quite as bad as it was pre-pandemic, but the traffic is starting to get really silly again in the city.
That's why nobody has vehicles. Everybody fucking takes the metro or the transit systems, or fucking takes taxis and Ubers, and nobody really drives because it's ridiculous.
Well, nobody from New York City actually has a car. It's all the people from Jersey and Long Island and places like that are driving into the city for work or for this or for that or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Everybody from like Manhattan and shit, they don't really drive because they take other alternate routes because it's like impossible to fucking drive.
And then, the streets are, kind of narrow in the city. So, you got the delivery trucks and, because there's stores and restaurants and on every block in the city, so you're constantly having delivery trucks all over the place.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the double and triple parking.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
No, there's no triple parking in the city.
Yeah, well, there's double parking. And I see.
No, there's double parking like a motherfucker.
I've seen some triple parking.
People do what they want. Last time we were in there, we stayed with Dimmy from Scarhead, the drummer, and I had my van. I'm like, Dimmy, you drive, and he would double park all the time. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, by us, like people would fight. He's like, no, people just go fucking around me. Fuck that. And he would get so close to cars, it was freaking me out. And I'm like, how could you enjoy all these people? He's like, it's not enough people. I want more people. I'm like, you're out of your mind. He lives in Brooklyn.
Driving? No, listen, listen. I mean, I've been driving in the city all my life. It's not, you know.
Yeah.
Especially for work, you know, like I've been driving in the city for the last, you know, not every day, but 2 days a week, and it sucks. It does.
Yeah.
But, you know,
let me ask you this: while you're driving, are you writing new tunes in your head or what?
Absolutely not. Like,
No?
because there's
God.
because there's bikers, there's shit flying at you left and right. You know, last thing I'm thinking about is new songs when I'm driving in Manhattan, like for work.
I would think you'd write the angriest song while driving in Manhattan, man.
Nah, I'm more or less like trying to just keep my cool and not kill people.
all right, fair enough.
You know, because I'm telling you, the bikers, like I've had several altercations with bikers.
Yeah.
Like not like Harley, but like city bikers, like people on bicycles, like that just fly and all over the place, and they go the wrong way, and they think the pedestrian, because, you know, like the way they have it now in the city, it's not like it used to be where you used to park against the curb.
Yeah.
When you're on like main, you know, street, like, you know, the avenues, like 7th Avenue, 9th Avenue, 8th Avenue, 9th Avenue, they have bike lane, like you have parking, and then in between the parking and the sidewalk, you have a pedestrian walkway.
Yeah.
You know, for people getting in and out of their cars. And then you have a bike lane.
Yeah.
The fucking bikers, they'll go the wrong way down, you know, one-way streets in the pedestrian walkway on their bikes. And I'm trying to get my knives out of the truck, you know, for my job. I understand. I got a box full of fucking knives, and these guys come flying at me, and you know, and they buzz me. After getting buzzed a couple of times, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna hip check one of these motherfuckers. And then next thing you know, woo, and I'm like, you're in the fucking walkway, you know, and then they're like, and they look at me, and, you know, and these, you know, these kale eating fucking, you know, kale eating, soy milk drinking, you know, they see me and they're like, nah, never mind.
Wrong one.
They know better.
For tuning in. This is the Ruckus Podcast Show. We got Max Illidge from 40 Below Summer in the house. I know a lot of you guys have been asking questions. If you're on Instagram right now, come over to the Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube page, and you can join in on all this and see the comments and stuff like that. We had a couple of people ask, what's your favorite strain to smoke?
Wow. I honestly, I would say probably I have this purple punch right now.
Yeah. And
I got a lot of it. Like, so.
Yeah. So is it a quantity or quality thing?
Yes, and.
Oh no, it's quality. It's quality.
All right,
dude, it tastes. It's purple. I mean, when I say it's purple, the only thing green are the sticks, like the stem in the center of the bud, like, you know. Yeah. The little stem, like, you know, you'll see little green flecks here and there, but the shit is pretty much dark purple. Yeah. And it tastes like Hawaiian punch. It's just delicious.
Shit. Send me some, but mail it to Donnie's house.
No, that's no. It's not legal here in the Ruckus Podcast area yet.
That's what I'm saying. Send it
yeah.
Oh, someone just said, Kill Hut's from 702. Yeah, he's our boy from Vegas. He said he's smoking on purple punch too, so he knows exactly what you're talking about.
It's just delicious. It really is. Every time I take a hit, it's like, you know, it's like, oh, it tastes so fucking good. Like,
just roasting your wrist dog. They're like, shoot your load, Ruckus. Trying to watch shit drip down that beer.
I listen. I'm too old for that nonsense. I'm gonna sip my beer at a medium pace.
So someone else said purple. Oh, it's Chris. Chris from Florida, right? Chris, our homie from yeah. He said purple punch is straight gas. Everyone apparently smokes purple punch on the show, so that's.
I mean, right now I got to couple different flavors. I got this stuff like right here with me right now. I don't know, it's behind me.
All I've got to show you is a White Claw and some Jameson bottles. That's what I'm.
I got this stuff called sherbet too. That's really nice. It's kind of got a sour, cushy kind of taste, but with a little
Sour diesel.
I don't know, almost like a little hint of lime. It's really nice.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well,
no, I listen. I only get very high end strains. You know,
summer music. We talked traffic, weed,
Traffic,
in East Coast.
Yeah, well, sure. Let's talk.
Let's
Let's-
trafficking.
Yeah.
Let's talk music.
All right. Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say this. I'm trying not to fanboy too much, but I got to give you props because I think you have one of the most unique voices I've ever heard in metal. And I think you're a hip hop artist with the metal that you guys have done too. You know what I mean? Like, I think you should be a rapper besides what you do in 40 Below.
Well, I've done, well, I mean, those who know 40 Below from the early days, we did start off doing a lot of rap metal.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, for those, you know, I mean, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube and stuff. Our YouTube channel, we didn't even start a YouTube channel until maybe like a year ago. Like we're such old heads, you know.
Not that old. Come on, man.
No, I'm just talking about like old school heads, like just the way we
promote
you know,
stuff. Yeah.
like, yeah, we're just not, you know, the most tech forward band, if you will. Like we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page that we never use. You know, I check out the page every once in a while, but I don't even think I have the passwords to our Instagram page. Like,
all right, well, I mean, everyone on Facebook, obviously your Facebook page, a lot of people. I see a lot of traffic on the Facebook, but yeah, the Instagram, I was trying to find you guys. It was tough for me at first to find you guys on.
Well, everyone go follow our Instagram page,
yes,
and I mean our Facebook page and our Twitter page, and follow me on Instagram too. You know.
Yeah, I found you on Instagram pretty easy, but Amber said, "What's Max's big plans for 40 Below Summer?" She put big in.
There's no big plan for 40 Below Summer. We're like middle-aged dudes now, and Dave has kids, and well. For those of you who don't know, like, you know, Jordan left the band, you know, when we reformed, you know, obviously everybody knows the classic 40 Below stuff, so, you know, from Sideshow Freaks through Invitation to the Dance and Morning After was, you know, basically 5 original members, you know, myself, Joey, Jordan, Carlos, and Hector.
Yeah.
When we reformed in 2012 and then in 2013 put out Fire at Zero Gravity, that was actually me, Joey, and Jordan, and then we added a new drummer and bass player, Anthony DeVizio, you know, was our new drummer and is currently our drummer. It's been 9 years now. And Derek Kleibish, who just recently passed away, was our bass player until about 2017.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we had a parting of the ways, and then, like I said, Derek passed away recently, you know, rest his soul. And then we had a guy named Tom McNamara in the band for a little while. Very good player. It just didn't really work out, I think, more from personality standpoint, you know. It's not that we just didn't like each other. It's just that we, you know, it just didn't work. And since then we've actually just, you know, that's when the pandemic kind of started, and, you know, we've just been taking our time, I guess. And we're finishing up. We've had issues with the studio, where we are. We had flooding and
yeah, because I saw a couple months ago you had some demos or something like that you were.
Yeah, we've been working on demos and stuff to just really to get the songs kind of together before we record them for real. You know, just live stuff. Like, you know, I'll throw, you know, I have my own studio, so I'll just throw mics in front of, you know, everything.
Yeah.
And record the stuff, and then I'll put different vocal ideas and stuff to it until eventually it sounds like something. And, you know,
so you're a recording engineer too, right, Max? You like? You're a recording engineer too, right? You recorded.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the most computer or tech savvy guy, but as far as, like, you know, mic placements, you know, running a mixer, this and that, wiring, and yes, obviously I can use a computer, but I'm not the kind of guy who's I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna sit there and cut and paste all sorts of shit. I'll fucking pay someone to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll track the instruments, I'll mix it, this and that, and I'll track my vocals and I'll track the guitars, I'll record everything. But when stuff needs to get, like cleaned up, if there's okay, we got a really good take, but then we want to, there's a mistake here. So we just, because we're if it's a part that repeats, we'll fly it in from somewhere else, rather than retrack it or whatever, or punch something in. Sometimes you just do a little comping, it's called. And usually it's mostly just with like really super intricate like double bass parts. Most of the other editing is just cleanup. Like the bleed on the tom-toms, like cleaning up the hiss in between guitar tracks, and whatever vocal bleed and stuff, like from the headphones into the vocal mic, but stuff like that, little tiny shit like that. I don't have time to do that, so I'll pay someone to do it.
Yeah. Is there any plans to do at least like another live show coming up soon, or?
Oh no, we're working on a new album and we're gonna play some shows, but I don't see us probably playing anything until I would say like late spring, early summer, maybe.
I've been wanting to get you guys up to the Midwest for the last couple of years. I know we talked about it a couple of times, but you got a huge fan base still in the Midwest over here too. You know what I mean? Like I know.
Well, we've been up. I mean, we've been up into Illinois and.
Illinois, I think it was like 3 years ago that you played Illinois, right before, like you said, right before COVID. What, 2.5 years ago, something like that, right?
No, it was a little longer for Illinois. We were up in Michigan. I know we were up in Michigan right before the pandemic.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, like it was like August or something of 2019. Like we played Michigan and Ohio. But we've been to like Indiana and Kentucky and
contingency out here. I know East Coast is where you guys were from, but you guys were when Invitation to the Dance first came out, you guys were touring all the time. Like I think I seen you like 5 or 6 times in the Midwest, but I also played a bunch of shows with you back in the day with my old band Soar. But like you guys were touring all the time. Like every time you were coming through with like Il Nino, I think was it Factory 81, I think, or something like that. Like a Jaeger.
Oh yeah, well that was our first tour. Nobody had the albums out except Factory 81.
Yeah, they were from Michigan. Right?
Oh yeah, we did like 4 shows in Michigan. We really slammed the Midwest on that tour.
Yep. Yeah.
And I mean, listen, Factory 81, their album had been out I think less than a year, and us, Chimera and El Nino had our records weren't coming out for at least 2 months each.
Yeah.
And I just remember like some nights were pretty good, but a lot of nights were, like we're full, but a decent amount of people. But a lot of nights, wasn't a lot of people, but it was still a lot of fun.
The first time I seen you at the rave, I think it might have been maybe you were headlining. I can't remember what show.
The rave was always good.
Yeah, you guys always killed it. Like rave was
no matter almost every time we played the rave, didn't matter who we played with, there was always a crowd.
Yeah,
that was just that Milwaukee just had a built-in metal crowd. Yeah, I think one of the
you guys went to a rave bar once, and it was fucking like because I don't know if you remember the bar stage. It's a tinier stage in the rave.
No, it literally was just rows and rows of people stage diving one after another.
I think I jumped off the stage a few times at that show. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, every time we played that little place, it was jammed, stuffed, and it was like they stuffed that little place because I think maybe. I think it held 400.
400. Yep.
And we always smashed it, but they really shouldn't have put more than 3 in that place.
I know you could.
It was small.
I got my ass kicked at a couple of your guys' shows back in the day with those. It was fucking brutal. It was fun as fuck.
And then eventually, after I know we headlined a couple of times there, then eventually they moved us downstairs to which was like an old bowling alley, so it was a little bigger.
Yep.
And we headlined there the last like 2 or 3 times that we played the rave.
Yep.
We never actually got to play the big ballroom upstairs, though. That we did get to play the
regular
bigger room. Yeah, the rave club. We played there.
The place, he knows exactly what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah. You like I said, you guys are road dogs because you were here all the time back in the day.
We played at back then. We played 3 of the 4 rooms at the rave. Now I heard there's 6 rooms or something.
Yeah, there's another one called the Vibe Room. What the fuck? Let's see. It's the bar. It's the Vibe Room. It's the basement. It's the regular rave and the ballroom, and there might be a 6th one, but I don't know. I was banned from there for a while, so
is the bar still the smallest room?
The Vibe Room is. The Vibe Room only fits 300, and then the bar is 400.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
upstairs in the smoking lounge. I think they do shit up there sometimes.
Oh, do they? Crisis said, "What's your favorite venue in Jersey to play?"
Well,
you used to play the Starland, right?
I mean, yeah, Starland, but I mean, currently, but the old Birch Hill before, pre-Starland was the best.
Yeah,
that place was, it was a little smaller, but I mean, because Starland's big, it holds over 2,000. And Birch Hill was smaller; it held maybe like 1,300. But they used to oversell it. Like we've done shows there that did like 14 and change.
Holy fuck!
Yeah. And E-Town Concrete,
yep.
They've done like they did, I think, the highest count like show for, because the Birch Hill was actually 2 rooms. Yeah. There was the Birch Hill room and the Stingray room, and for a single show, I think E-Town did something like over 1,600. Like I don't know how the fire marshal didn't shut that show down, but it was crazy.
Danny said the singer from E-Town is now the manager for like Future and a bunch of big rap stars. Is that true?
Oh yeah, he's been doing that for a while. Oh yeah, Anthony's he's rich.
That's what Danny said. That's exactly what Danny said. He's like, yo, that dude from he's rich. I'm like, oh shit.
Anthony's rich. He managed Tyga too for a while.
Oh, Tyga, that's what it was. Yeah, yep. I didn't know that.
He's been managing a bunch of different rappers for a while. No, he's driving a Range Rover. He lives in a penthouse. He's fine.
Oh shit!
Is he managing his fucking OnlyFans page?
Wait, Tyga has an OnlyFans page? Get the fuck out of here!
Listen, I don't want. I don't want to.
I seen it like last year. They were talking about he made more money off OnlyFans than he did music.
How is that possible?
Because his music's garbage.
No, come on!
I don't want to know.
Yeah,
I don't want to know.
I heard that the rest of the guys are like teachers now from E-Town. Is that true?
No shit.
Yeah.
No, one guy, Teddy, he the drummer.
Oh,
he became he I think he's a principal. I think.
Oh, that's fucking crazy.
I think he might be a principal now.
Hardcore dudes and shit. Hey, he's the president of the United States now.
He's a dentist.
Yeah.
He's a kindergarten.
No, but well, the guitar player, Dave, he plays with 40 Below now. Since 2014, yeah. When Jordan left the band in 2014, he replaced Jordan. Not replaced him, but he took the second guitar spot.
Yeah.
You can't really replace Jordan.
Yeah.
So if you guys are working on new music, when are you planning on releasing that?
Well, I'd like to have it released, sometime by maybe the 2nd or 3rd quarter of next year.
Okay.
Because we had to halt everything because we had flooding at the studio.
Yeah.
And with everyone's work schedules and this and that, I mean, it's a long story. I don't even want to get into it, but we ended up actually coming out kind of lucky because we got a bunch of free vinyl flooring. So we put, we had all the leaks and everything fixed. At least the landlords took care of that.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't replace any of our carpeting or blah 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 and this and that. So, but then we lucked out because the building manager, who's a friend of mine, was like, "Oh, I got this vinyl flooring. You want it?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So now we're putting all vinyl flooring down. Actually, we just finished putting it down. So we're about to move all our shit back and get back to work.
Yeah.
Did like a pipe burst or something, or was it like a storm?
No. It was, when that tropical storm, tropical storm passed through here. It was bad. Like this was maybe about a month and a half ago.
He's got wet.
Yeah. I have like 5.
We were just.
What's that?
Listen, we were lucky that I was actually at the studio because no one else was there. I was there working on, literally, I was working on vocals for one of our songs. I'm singing and I start hearing like water, like the sound of like water trickling. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I look, and from one corner of like our room, like there's water leaking down. And then all of a sudden it started getting harder and thicker and harder. And I'm like, oh shit. And I went and got the building manager. I'm like, bro, the water's coming in. And he came and looked and he was like, I'll get the shop vac. If I wasn't there, and I was there till like 1 a.m. It started at like 8 o'clock. I was there till 1 a.m, literally just running the shop vac all over the place, sucking up the water. You know, if I hadn't been there, we would have probably gotten several inches of water. And we got a lot of fucking equipment there, all my recording equipment, like, you know, the band's equipment. Like, we could have lost thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of shit.
New York got hit hard with that storm. I mean, I know a lot of people that got flooded the fuck out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Danny had a bunch of CDs he wanted to get me of the Ice Pick CD for him and Jamie Jossi. He had like 500 of them. He's like, hey, I'm going to send them to the warehouse. I got them here. They were completely wet. I'm like, what is this? He's like, oh, it's from the flood. They must have got fucked up. I'm like, yeah, they're completely soaked. I can't do anything with them.
Dude, like it was like there was flooding all over the place. Like, you know, again, I'm driving a lot for work. So I went to a bunch of different areas, and there were some places that were just flooded out. You know, it was. I mean, it wasn't bad like Hurricane Sandy. I mean, that wiped out our power grids for, you know, like in some places 2-3 weeks, like down South Jersey, like up here in the north, you know, where I was, we lost power for 8 days. Imagine living with no power for 8 days.
That's
you know,
crazy.
You know, we're not like, you know, we're, you know, this isn't the 1700s. Like, we're not used to like, we're not used to sleeping on haystacks and you know, you know,
I'll get you pregnant.
You know, listen,
at 5.
I'm not, you know, I'm not, you know, spoiled like that. I don't live in some penthouse and blah blah blah. You know, but I'm not. I'm not the kind of guy that wants to go camping.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah. Especially, I'm not trying to camp in my house.
If I don't got poured up for 3 days, I'm fucked.
Yeah, I can't. I don't have an imagination anymore. Fuck that.
Yeah, dig out the old Playboys.
Let me ask you this too. I never knew this, Max, but you guys were close to signing with Madonna's label Maverick back in the day. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, that was we actually. This is an interesting story. We before we had like major label interest, we were being courted by 3 different managers. One was Velvet Hammer.
Okay.
They had their own record label also through Atlantic Records.
Yeah.
Velvet Hammer, Atlantic Records. They had Taproot and System of a Down. Velvet Hammer managed System of a Down, and System of a Down was on, I believe, American Def Jam. And they managed Taproot, but Taproot was also signed to their label.
Yeah.
Then there was also KMA management. They had Disturbed and Stereo Mud at the time, you know, and then there was No Name management who had Slipknot and Mudvayne and American Head Charge. So we ended up going with that company, and then we started, you know, showcasing. And the guy who signed Disturbed, I forgot what his actual name is, but his nickname was Burko. He signed Disturbed to Giant Warner, and he had moved over to Maverick.
Yeah.
There was like, you know, there's always like people from labels are always shuffling around and moving from one label to another.
Yeah.
And he moved over to Maverick because I guess Maverick wanted to sign the next like Disturbed or the next.
Yeah.
And he was really into us, and he flew us out for a showcase.
Deftones already signed. Yeah, Deftones were earlier with Maverick, right? Yeah.
Yes, but since Deftones, Maverick hadn't really signed anybody, you know, in that vein.
In that vein.
So Burko, showcased us. He brought us out, to LA. We showcased for them, and they offered us a really big deal.
Yeah.
And then fucking shit went south because
with Maverick, yeah.
Not because of Maverick,
Yeah.
because of just about everyone in our camp. And what I mean was that, like, look, I knew a little bit about the business, a little more so than the rest of the guys in the band, just, from my father and my mother both being in the industry. My father's a, semi-famous guitar player. He's played for a lot of, big names, in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, no, he played for Barry Manilow and
Get the fuck out of here.
Harry Belafonte,
What?
Gregory Hines, Aretha Franklin, Ashford and Simpson.
That's not really semi-famous.
Yeah, that's
Roberta Flack. No, but I mean, he was there. Like they would hire him to be their guitar player, mostly touring, but he played on a few of their albums too. So
What?
I mean, my dad could play, but nonetheless. I knew about the industry. I think a lot of people know I was in the Talking Heads "Burning Down the House" video. I was in a Broadway play. I done numerous commercials and voiceovers, lots of voiceovers and jingles when I was, in my 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up until I was about 14 when my voice started changing.
Yeah.
And then I picked up guitar and started playing in various bands, just playing, metal guitar and stuff and this and that. And then eventually I met, the guys and we started 40 Below, when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, early 20s. And we got signed, when I was in my mid 20s. But we had this Maverick deal and we basically asked for an extra $50,000. That's all we asked for. They offered us a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
All we did was ask for, and most people think so let me explain to people how a deal was structured. Deals aren't like this anymore.
No, they're not.
You get a record deal, and I'm not going to put like specific dollar values, but when people hear I'll put somewhat specific dollar values, but like when people hear someone got $1 million recording contract.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that the label just handed the band $1 million.
Yeah,
like people think that you sign a record deal and you're rich, and that's not how it works. No. $1 million recording contract would be broken down into like 4 or 5, like 5 or 6 different, sections. Like of the $1 million, you would take 100, maybe and $50,000 and give the band an advance, which means the band members can split that money. Then another 100 to 150,000 maybe for tour support. Then maybe 200,000, 250,000 for marketing. Then maybe 50 to 100 for your first video. Then another 25,000 for equipment. Then another 25,000 for artwork. Then another 25,000 for an electronic press kit. So there's a budget, and that $1 million covers all of it. Yeah. But you're not handed $1 million, and it's not like, we get 200,000 each. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Find a Bentley.
Yeah.
No, it's that way for rappers because they're generally solo artists. So when a rapper signs $1 million recording contract and gets a $200,000 or $300,000 whatever advance, he keeps it himself.
Yeah.
Whereas
a band of 5
a band has to split that money.
Yep.
It's different.
Yeah.
So we had this deal offered, and we asked for $50,000 extra basically.
Yeah.
And this is what we told our management. This is why it's as much our management's fault as our fault. We asked for $50,000 on the band advance. We just wanted an extra $50,000 for the band to put in the pocket.
5 guys, an extra 10 grand.
And no, this is what our manager asked for. They asked for an extra $50,000, but then they asked for things that were just unheard of. They asked for 100,000 units shipped first day.
Oh shit!
Huh? Like, and you understand? Our manager's like, "Well, we manage Slipknot," and it's like, I don't give. And Maverick's like, "I don't give a shit who you fucking manage."
Yeah.
Nobody ships 100,000 units of a baby band first day, guaranteed.
Yeah.
If you're Linkin Park and your song hits on radio and MTV before the record comes out, then they'll ship 100,000. But we weren't even at the stage of the record being recorded yet. And Linkin Park wasn't guaranteed 100,000 unit shipped, first day. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Even though they could have pulled it off, they still aren't going to.
Yeah, but for the first band,
but that's what our management asked for, and then they asked for a guaranteed $100,000 first video budget, which was also kind of absurd.
Yeah.
And Maverick came back and was like, "No." So we were just like, "Fuck it, let's just take the deal because this is a really good deal." Like, I don't think any other label's going to come. With this sizable offer, and our managers basically tried to play hardball, but without really telling us. They just stopped returning everyone from Maverick's phone call.
Oh shit!
And Maverick just walked away.
Damn, that's
So then we ended up signing with London Sire for a similar deal, but slightly less.
Yeah,
very slightly less, but then London Sire folded literally 10 weeks after the record came out. Warner Brothers pulled the plug. They owned London because Warner Brothers owned everybody at that point.
And you were just in limbo for all that time then, huh?
We were in limbo for about 6 months, and then we sort of got taken on by Warner Reprise, but not really.
Yeah.
They never really got behind us. They didn't even really give us our full remainder of our contract as far as money.
Yeah.
That London Sire had owned us. They gave us about 2/3. And then they were just like, then they put us in limbo for almost like another 6 months. And we finally had to get our lawyers involved and say, we want out. Like, they didn't drop us. We actually sicked our attorney on them and said, let us go.
Yeah. And then once you got out of that is when you recorded the second record then, which,
for Razor and Tie.
Release. Yeah.
For Razor and Tie, which was another shit show because, the guy who signed us he wasn't even an A&R guy. He was more like a marketing guy. His name was Milo. And I can't remember his last name now off the top of my head because it was so long ago. But his name was Milo, and he was a really good dude. And literally 3 months after he signed us, he quit the label because Razor and Tie at the time was still kind of new.
Yep.
They didn't really know what they were doing.
Because I remember, Invitation to the Dance became this like I said, in the Midwest, you guys were really well known. And I tried to find The Morning After when it first dropped. It took me a couple of record shops to find it at first because I assumed it was still on, your first label. But did we lose you? Oh, there you are. And then it did take me a little bit to find that second record in shops back in the day. I do remember that because I wanted it right away when it first came out.
Fangirl.
Yeah, like I told you, I'm a huge fan.
No, I mean, look. Like I said, we did so many laps over the Midwest. It was, I can't even count. But listen, I loved every second of it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
More of the label experiences were difficult, but look, it is what it is, and shit happens the way it happens. I mean,
You have a rabid fan base. You know what I mean? After all this time you guys obviously created an impact. Hashtag Follow the Sun is a big hashtag still on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. People don't forget it. And new metal is, I don't want to call you guys new metal. New metal gets a shitty, thing, just like certain like hip hop and stuff like that. But you guys were beyond that. But you guys were like,
isn't new metal kind of back now?
It is. It really is. Check out,
look at all
check
these.
out the Dropout Kings that just signed a Sub Noise.
And Jinx and there's a lot of bands from around here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A Concrete Dreams from up you guys.
Concrete Dream, Jeremiah's band.
Yep, Jeremiah said, Dave Diablo's taking them out to the West Coast later this month. They're playing a show at Crazy Town, and he's taking them by Kevin Zinger's house by Sub Noise's Click and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh yeah, they're playing Diablo Fest. I'll be out in New York December 18th. You should come out. I'll buy you the first 5 shots.
I'm not doing. I'm not. No, you can buy me a couple beers. I'm not doing shots.
All right. I'll drink the 5 shots. You have the 5 beers.
December 18th. Come out to the.
I can drink 5 beers. I mean,
Yeah.
I can drink a lot of beer.
Well,
Yeah.
I generally tend to stay away from hard liquor. Me and hard liquor just don't get along.
well, then come out and have some beer.
Yeah.
But as long as it's a weekend, I'll definitely.
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah,
Saturday, December 18th.
I'll definitely drink a Stella with you.
sounds good to me. And it's in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's in Brooklyn. It's at let me see. I'm looking. The Kingsland. It's at the Kingsland.
All right, that's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
30-minute drive. I mean, 40.
Yeah.
Actually, with traffic, we're probably an hour.
Yeah, with traffic 4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah,
It's 2 miles, but 30-minute drive.
with traffic, it's a day drive.
Just drive here. Come with us.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like I said, I loved every second of being out on the road, and we had a lot of fun. We toured with some great bands, and
Yeah.
we had, we made some lifelong relationships. I still, talk to most of the, people from other bands that we toured with. Be it guys from American Head Charge, or guys from El Nino,
Yeah.
guys from Spine Shank, the guys from we're all friends on on social media, and we all check up on each other, and
Yeah.
listen, there's the guys from Chimera,
Yeah.
there was a like I said, we were all kid, like
Yeah.
comparing to ourselves now, we weren't like children, but we were kids. We were all in our
Running around the country.
early and to mid 20s, and coming up at the same time, touring the country, and with other bands that we looked up to before us,
Yeah.
and it was great. I mean, what more could you ask for? At the end of the day, I mean,
You guys wrote some classic records, man. I'm looking forward to hearing some more of the new stuff too. But yeah, you guys wrote some. Like I said, I think you're one of the most unique voices I've ever heard in metal.
well, I think part of that is just because I've just always just sang, like sometimes you'll hear singers, they like, sort of try to imitate other singers to a certain extent. Not all, there's a lot of unique singers out there. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah.
like there's generally a lot, you'll find like the trendsetters, whoever it'll be from whatever style. And then you'll find other people who kind of sound like them, or,
Yeah.
and in some cases it's maybe someone's natural voice. And in other cases where people like try to sound like this type of singer or that,
Yeah.
whereas me, I just sort of sang the way I sang,
Well, what I like is you hit those really crazy high notes, but you could scream. But I really got the most out of your ad libs in all your songs. The little things you did in the background, I was like, oh shit! Did you hear what he just did there? Like those little like screams and things he would do in the background. Like those ad libs were fucking on point every time. The production was sick.
I mean, even when we were doing like, early demos and stuff, I always wanted to create like, these vocal, like point, in a lot of cases, like point counterpoint things where, you have, stuff that's, and this can also be difficult though, when you have people trying to play instruments and do backup vocals that are at odd timings and in strange places.
Yeah.
Like when you're trying to play and then you have to do something that's offbeat, it can be a little, challenging.
Yeah.
But one good thing, especially with a lot of screaming stuff, is Joey was a drummer, I think even before he played guitar.
Yeah.
And if those that don't know, that Fire at Zero Gravity record was actually Joey played drums. It was right before Anthony joined the band.
Okay.
But Joey actually played all the drums on that record, and rhythm guitar. And Jordan played the lead guitar, and Jordan played the bass too.
Jesus.
Yeah.
There was only 3 of us on Fire at Zero Gravity as far as recording the album.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
And I played a little bit of guitar too, here and there.
Yeah. You probably picked that up from your pa.
Actually, believe it or not, I mean, I guess the talent, sure, but
Yeah.
he didn't teach me.
No?
Like, no, he's not a very good teacher. He'll admit this. I mean, he can play. He can play, but he wasn't a teacher. Like, it's just, you know, sometimes, and it's not that those who can't, you know, teach, those who can do, those who can't teach. It's not like that. I know plenty of really good like great guitar players,
Yeah.
who would teach, but you have to have a certain type of patience to teach, and I don't think my dad had the patience to teach. I think that was really what it boiled down to.
Yeah, definitely.
What'd your pops think about your music?
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up.
Not all of it. There's some of it where he's like, all right, that's a little much for me, but you know.
Yeah.
Did
What?
you ever get him to?
But for the most part, I would say he likes, you know, like 95% of it, because look, I mean, it's melodic.
Yep.
When it
Very
does
melodic.
get heavy, it's always pretty groove oriented.
Yeah,
It's not like, you know, and
well,
granted, I know.
Sugar crazy time changes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that's more that. I mean, we did it a little bit on the first two records.
Yeah.
As we started self-producing stuff, you know, moving afterwards, like Fire at Zero Gravity and Transmission Infrared. Yeah, we definitely got. I mean, look, you got to understand, if we could have, we would have probably done more of it early on, because we all came up here in the New York, New Jersey area, like Joey and myself and Jordan especially, as being the main riff writers in the band, and we were always influenced by Canderia. So I don't know how many people know about Canderia, but I know you guys do. But a lot of people don't know about Canderia because they were very underground.
Yep.
And especially the older Canderia stuff, before they actually became melodic, when Canderia was just a purely rhythmic band, you know, they were still ridiculous, you know, like captivating, and watching them play was captivating. I mean, we toured with them.
Weird, though. I remember seeing them the first time, like I saw them, I was ready to like mosh and stuff like that. Like, you know, I'm young and like, fuck it, let's do this. And I just sat there, like, because every riff was like, it would just hit, and then would change before I could even get into it. It was, and then it became a jazz riff, and then it became this. Like, it was like, what
they were all over the place. But those like kind of choppy, because originally Canderia started out as more of like a death metal band. Their very early stuff was a little more death metal, and then by like their first record, by the second and third record, they got just more like this strange jazz groove. It's hard to really describe what they sound like, because their riffs, once they started going in this direction by their second album, and then the third album, I think, is where they really started hitting it, was Process of Self-Development, the third record. And then the 300% Density record was just, to me, perfect, you know, for what Canderia was at the time. It was a perfect album, you know. And then they went on tour with us, and they got hit by a semi. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Canderia got hit by a semi.
Holy fuck.
Like a semi truck smashed into the back of them, and they all survived.
Thank God.
And nobody was hurt really seriously, meaning like life threatening, but you know, a couple of the guys, like one broke his collarbone, one had a back injury, and really had to stop playing. I mean, you know, the drummer had a knee injury, and he had like a piece of his ear torn off. The singer, though, Carly, not a scratch.
Not a scratch.
Not a freaking scratch on him.
Jesus.
The black guy. Yes, that's right. The black man.
Oh, shit.
What were you gonna ask?
But they won a big lawsuit, you know. So
no shit, I didn't know that.
They got some money.
Yeah.
But after that, Canderia. Now, here's the thing: Canderia, like when I say they weren't a melodic band, what I mean by that is they had, you know, certain melodic, you know, parts, you know, horns and trumpet, but there was never any singing in the band.
Yeah.
It was always like Carly doing mostly like screaming, which was almost death metal type screaming, and then occasionally doing some rapping.
I was gonna say they did a cover.
And almost every record, they have a straight hip hop song.
Yep, they did
with Carly and his cousin.
That was sick.
You know, almost every record though they have a straight hip hop song with with Carly and his cousins, but as opposed to having like samples, it's actually Kenny the drummer playing the beat. Yeah. He'll tune drums differently. Kenny's a wizard when it comes to the drums.
Yeah.
The Canderia's drummer, and they'll do this stuff, but they were a huge influence on us. Those guitar riffs from those records, 300% Density and Process of Self-Development, were big influences, on a lot of the riffs that we do.
Yeah.
More so than a lot of people would realize.
Yeah.
But I think the guys from Canderia know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we've always paid the utmost respect to them, and but when after that they got hit by the semi, they decided to change things up, and they started doing 3-part harmonies,
which is
and they started doing them well right away. Like, really, like you guys are like this kind of level musicianship instrumentally, and now you're gonna now you're just gonna write songs with hooks and 3-part harmonies.
Yeah. That's like
and listen, and Canderia is a big influence on a lot of bands that are coming out today, like that are getting popular today, like Fire from the Gods. Like they're, bro. Ask AJ. He loves Canderia. Loves Canderia.
Yeah, that's.
I mean that. Real recognizes real. That's all I can say.
Real. I'll drink to that. Let's have a shot. You guys got a shot in there?
Nope. Pour me one up, motherfucker.
We'll have one more shot.
Well, I'm drinking my Presidente.
Instagram, if you guys haven't got a chance, go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter's Force 5. We're live right now with Max Illidge from 40 Below Summer. We've been talking.
Yes, and you can hit me up on Instagram and Facebook and all that shit. I'm not shy. I'll say what's up.
He'll say what's up to you guys. They're working on new music. We've been talking about the past. We've been talking about the future. We've been talking about history, everything. Talking about
we're getting high.
Yeah,
getting about weed strains.
Yeah, weed strains, and
we're talking about weed strains. That's right.
I told the dude on Instagram I was gonna curb stomp him because he's talking shit about my size. He's talking shit about how big I am. I said, I'll show you how big I am when I come to Anaheim.
It's crazy. I don't understand this. Every other social media site is good. Instagram, we get a ton of crazy shit. Thank you, Instagram, for fucking trolling out on us, motherfuckers.
No, fuck that dude. He's a bitch. His mom's a hoe. And when I come to Anaheim, I'm gonna fuck your mouth.
You heard that, dude from Instagram.
Also, I'm
what's that?
If people want to know anything else about me, I'm
an open book.
Pretty diehard boxing fan.
How are you?
What's your 3 favorite fucking bands?
My 3 favorite bands? I don't know if I can even answer that.
Regular ones.
I will say this, and Max. When I used to tour back in the day with my band Soar, there was only there was only 2 bands that we could agree on in the van listening to. It was 40 Below Summer and Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates.
The only 2 we could play nonstop that no one would complain.
What's 3?
Listen. Daryl Hall could sing like a fucking bird.
He
can really sing, man.
You ever listen?
Did you ask the question about his dad?
What one?
What
did he play?
I asked him
I tried
what
to.
3 bands.
Listen again. I can't say my 3 favorite bands. I really can't. But what I can say is are like, for example, like one of the most influential albums to me was Pantera's Far Beyond Driven.
Okay.
I can give you that. Like, I wouldn't say like Pantera's, one of my 3 favorite bands, because it's hard for me to say that. Like, that album is definitely one of my favorite albums, and from a metal perspective, probably one of the most influential.
I agree completely. That's a great album.
Because, well, here's the thing, and a lot of people don't realize that the modern metal scream was really kind of perfected on a couple of albums right around that time, and it was Far Beyond Driven. Because if you think about that, like, listen to Korn's first record, the way he didn't never really scream, Jonathan Davis. He would more yell than scream. Chino would scream like those like, blood curdling, kind of screams that he would do. Like, but Phil and Mike, hold on. Phil and Mike Patton were the guys, in my opinion, that invented that modern scream.
You can't fuck with Bungle. You can't fuck with Pantera. You're right.
Like that, like go listen to Jizz Lobber on Angel Dust. No, go listen to Jizz Lobber. The way he distorted his voice and he's screaming, you know, like just bloody murder, like that, like that's like that. And then you go listen to like, you know, like Strength Beyond Strength, like you're just like nobody was screaming like that then. Now everybody has that kind of like, you know, scream. You know, I'm not talking about the death metal stuff where they do the low, you know, I'm talking about that just, you know,
that belt from the soul.
Yeah, like and
belting it. Yeah.
I gotta
then all of a sudden, like the new metal stuff started happening. Now you see, even when Pantera was doing it and Faith No More was doing it, none of the thrash bands that were still around were doing that kind of screaming. It wasn't until the new metal bands came out, and then all of a sudden, like first there was, you know, Korn and, you know, and this and that, and then Deftones, when that record came out and you would hear it, was like, oh, well, he's, you know, like, and then and you know, and they would mix a little hip hop in there, you know, with his weird Chino's weird scat rapping. I like you know, his lyrics are so all over the place, you know, crazy. But they're very poetic and pretty, like, you know, in a lot of cases, like, you know, so, you know.
Someone just asked from the Dungeon Podcast show, just asked, was it true that there was a ghost in the last song off the album Invitation to the Dance? I've never heard that before.
No. Okay. So what happened? Jonesin is about the song is about this kid I went to high school with. His name was David Jones. Right. He was about, I think he was either a year or two older than me, and he was like light skinned, you know, black, like, you know, like maybe a little darker than me.
Yeah.
But he was like, you know, he had like the high top fade. You know, this is the early 90s, you know, mid 90s. He had like the high top fade. Like he was like the Saved by the Bell black kid though. Like he played tennis, you know, and I like seriously, he was like the type of kid, but what people didn't know about him was he was into like, you know, all sorts of fucked up shit and drugs.
Yeah.
And evidently there was he had a thing for like redheaded, like Jewish girls. He ended up like having a thing for this one girl. They were friends for a long time, you know, and this was after high school. I mean, this is, you know, probably, I want to say like 95, 94, 95, 96, maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And, I don't know all the details, but I know that the two of them were alone together. And I think it was at his place or something, and he had like a basement in his parents, and he I think she like turned him down, like he was making advances, and he killed her.
Oh,
like
shit.
No, he killed her. Like no, but like not just killed her, like killed her brutally.
Oh,
like cut her up, stabbed her with a pitchfork, covered her in plastic, and had sex with her dead body.
Pitchfork in the basement?
Yeah, I guess.
Damn.
Dude, it was bad. Like it was really bad. Now this is, mind you, this kid, I was not friends with him. Like we ran in different circles. He ran with like I guess a better sort of people than I did. Like I was, you know, I hung out with a lot of stoners and musicians, and he played tennis. Like he was, like I said, he was like the Saved by the Bell black kid.
Psychopathic. He played tennis.
But he was like, you know, he had like, you know, he had a dark passenger. Anyway, so
I like how you got put that in there.
So anyway, after all this happened, this was probably, it was probably closer to the later 90, like 96 or whatever, 90. But I met the guys in the band, and we were working on this song, and it was eerie. And then this just popped into my head. Like, oh yeah, from a couple years ago. Now, one of my closest friends, a kid named Myron Grant, he's in a new band now that he just started. I can't remember the name of it, but one of my closest friends for a long time. And he calls himself Lord M now. He's a very, very, very strange, but brilliant and hysterically funny person.
Yeah.
And talented. He can sing.
Yeah.
Go look him up, Myron Grant, and look up his band. I just can't, literally, right. It's probably because I'm high, but I can't remember the name of his band right now.
Yeah.
But it's catchy, and it's Myron's always written good stuff. Like he's always been talented too. But he was actually more friends with this guy Davy Jones. Like I was never friends with him at all. Myron was actually friends with him because they were in the same grade. They were both like a year or two older than me. And Myron actually went and visited him in prison.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if the kid killed, like if he got the death penalty. I'm pretty sure he's gotten life, but I don't think he got the death. I'm pretty sure he didn't get the death. I don't think there's a death penalty in New Jersey, but nonetheless, Myron did visit him and spoke to him, and he said it was a very surreal conversation. He didn't give me too many details, but nonetheless, that was the inspiration for that song. That's why the song is called Jonesin'.
Yeah.
That all went down in 94, 95?
I think he said 96.
No, it might have been a little later. It was somewhere between, I would say, 94 and like 97.
So basically,
I'm not 100% sure what like.
Ninth grade year.
Yeah.
That was basically Donnie's senior year in college.
Yeah.
College.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would.
Fucking assholes, get off the set. All three. Max, just you. It's just you and me.
Yeah. Well, 94 would have been my. If I went to college, would have been my freshman year.
Well, that was Donnie's senior year.
No.
So
It ain't that old.
No, actually, it would have been my sophomore year. Well, depends. 93 into 94 would have been my freshman year.
Yeah.
Well, if you went to the same college, you guys would have worked together.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was the inspiration for the song Jonesin'.
Yeah.
That's why you listen to the lyrics. They say, "Shut up and stay there and bleed," while as I rip you apart, and watch while you scream.
I've been listening to music all week this week.
I'm raping you blind. You can't believe the night that you died. Like,
Yeah. So it's a very happy song, is what you're telling me.
It's not happy at all, but it's actually a very beautiful song. But it's a dark beauty. But the lyrics are disturbing. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Listen, when Garth was producing that record, when I was singing the lyrics, like singing it for the first time, because from the demos he couldn't quite understand all the words.
Yeah.
But when we were actually in the studio, he stopped recording because it was just me and him. Like, because we had done the instruments, and then Garth set up this booth like in the back of the studio at Sound City in LA.
Yeah.
And it was just me and him back there, and he was, working away, with my vocals. And as I'm singing the lyrics and get like maybe halfway through the song, he just stopped and he was like, "Max, what did you do?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? What did I do? If I did something like that," I explained to him, like, if I did something like this, would I be here right now? No, I'd be in jail.
Now, let people that don't know, Garth, the producer for the first record, right?
Yes, good Garth. Like, because he has a stutter. He stutters.
What else did he produce back then?
Well, back then he was coming right off producing Mudvayne's first record, and Kitty's first record. Those were like his two big albums then. But right after us, he produced Trapped and Chevelle's two big albums.
Wait, did you really just bring up Trapped?
Yeah, he's responsible for Headstrong. I'll bet you anything. I'll bet you anything. Garth is just like, oh God, because Garth is extremely liberal.
Is he okay? All right, so Trapped. That's got to be like his. It's got to drive him nuts that he even produced that record, then, right?
Well, it's more so because of what that guy has become. What the hell is his name again? Chris Taylor, Chris Taylor Brown, whatever. Listen, I've never actually met the guy.
Yeah.
Or spoken to the guy, but he's friends with a few, friendly with a few people that, I'm friends with. He's friendly with Christian from El Nino a little bit. And he's friends with Sahaj from Ra.
Yeah.
Sahaj is a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Great singer. If you want to hear something amazing, go listen to Sahaj's acoustic cover of Queensryche's The Mission.
Sahaj's
You know Queensryche. Do you know the song "The Mission" from Operation Mindhunt?
One of my favorites.
Yeah. listen to Sahaj do that song acoustic, like just him and an acoustic guitar in his studio, and it's beautiful. Sahaj is one hell of a singer and a producer, engineer.
Actually, I want to listen to Jones in after I get out of here again, so I can listen to lyrics again to really.
Hey, listen, you know, we're there's something like with 40 Below, even though we never, if you really listen, every album that we do is always a different experience than the previous record.
Yeah.
You know, whether you like it more or less, you know. So, you know, as Morning After was different than Invitation.
Yep.
Fire at Zero Gravity was way different than anything else. Transmission Infrared is way different than Fire at Zero Gravity. But there's a certain kind of underlying theme of 40 Below Summer, and it's just that, and it's just a certain distinct kind of sound.
Yeah.
That when you hear it, it's 40 Below.
Yeah. Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think that's just always.
That's why we need some more 40 Below Summer.
No, we're gonna. We're
all about 40 Below.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to, you know, have some new music in 2022. That's
all right.
You know, stamp it. But there might be even more music because I've been actually quietly now putting together some material for a solo album.
Oh,
so
shit.
Yeah, and it's not going to be metal. I'll say that.
Polka?
It will definitely not be polka. I can assure you of that.
Yeah. What style are you doing?
You know,
I feel like
it's going to be a little diverse, but it's going to be more like, I would say, like a spacey. I mean, it's going to be rock. Don't get me wrong. It's just not going to be metal. It's going to be more like a spacey kind of, not stoner rock, but like spacey kind of, like at times harder rock. At times there might be some trip hop type shit on there. I love
trip hop.
You know,
I love any.
You know, like kind of like I Monster. Like
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
You know. So again, I'm just, you know, I want to utilize, you know, the rest of my younger years, you know, while I still look pretty good and I still have a full head of hair, you know, to you know, and still have some youthful exuberance to create more music than just, you know, the metal and even though it's what 40 Below does is more than metal, but you know, the harder stuff that I do with 40 Below, to do stuff that's a little bit more, you know, atmospheric.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, some solo stuff, you know, like, and listen, it's not that I haven't always done metal. You know, I've done some hip hop too. I've done some, and I do want to do some hip hop too. So that's another thing. You know,
you want to do some hip hop?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk, brother.
No. Listen.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Mixtape.
Listen, I'm not. You know, I'm a little rusty, and it's not like. You know, you just hand me a microphone. It's not like you could just hand me a microphone and I'll come up with a hot 16 off the top of my head.
Well, we need 12. It's 2021. No one does 16s. It's 12s now because everyone has a short attention span, so it don't matter. 2 minutes are songs now. But if you give me a hot beat, and
a pad and paper and about 30 to 60 minutes. I can drop fire no matter what. It just
send this man a beat.
You please need to stay in touch with Donnie. Let's make this happen.
Yeah.
No, of course. Listen.
You're too talented for us not to hear more music from you because there's so many people that are clamoring for more shit from 40 Below and just from you for real. Like I know so many people in my camp everywhere that's like they would love to hear more shit from you. You and 40 Below, whatever, you know what I mean? Like you're too talented.
Well, no. 40 Below, of course. You know, 40 Below is a given.
Yeah.
But you know, I do have, you know, I do have other aspirations, and the truth is that, you know, I do have enough time on my hand once we get through this just initial with the recording and of finishing these demos and then recording the album. I'm going to have plenty of time to be able to work on, you know, some solo stuff, maybe some hip hop stuff, maybe, you know, collaborate with some people, you know,
We're right here, by the way.
and do some shit. So, you know, I mean,
I was pissing.
you know, I'm basically, well, here now with you guys, I'm basically making it known that, you know, like, yeah, I'm down, you know, sometime in 2022 to start, you know, working on some collabs and this and that. And like I said, again, I love hip hop, and I love, you know, like I said, I love this new era of like, you know, rap metal that's coming up too. Like I said, like, you know, like Concrete Dream and Jinx and Dropout Kings and, you know, and Fire from the Gods, even though they're not like, some of their stuff is hip hoppy, some of their stuff is like Seven Dust meets Canderia. Like they're like, those guys are like, there's a lot of these new crop of bands. Oh, there's this other group. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're called Backwards.
No, never heard of them.
Oh, dude, they're like a metal rap, you know, rap metal. But like the lead singer is like a libertarian, like very, but more of a classic liberal than a libertarian even.
Yeah.
And he's a very bright guy, and you got to check out some of their stuff. It's really good.
Check it out. Backwards. I'll have to check them out. Where are they from?
What is Z?
I think they're somewhere in the Midwest, but
Midwest? Oh shit! All right.
You know, somewhere. I mean, they might be. I don't know. They're
looking them up right now.
Look them up, but it's Backwards. I think with a Z at the end.
Yep, we found them. We got them. We'll have to listen to that afterwards.
No, they got a good amount of followers.
Yeah.
So, like, no. Listen, the dude can spit. Like, he can really spit.
That's dope. I'll have to check them out. Well, before we go, we've actually already been on here for an hour and 15 minutes. I had no idea we've already.
I don't care. I'll fucking talk all night.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. But, is there anything else you want to talk about before you know, we say goodbye to everyone in Facebook land and Twitter and our Instagram? Actually, our Instagram is about to die because it's been sitting there on our feed for an hour and a half.
Because that big old headed ass motherfucker.
Let's go talk to the guy talking shit on Instagram.
You know, look, I mean, the only thing I could say is that, you know, 40 Below is, you know, been around for a lot longer than people realize. It's going on 25 years now. I mean, you know, since we first actually formed, you know, next year, not next year, 2023 will be 25 years.
Where's
you know,
the time gone? Holy fuck!
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, it's 20. I met Joey 24 years ago, Halloween.
Holy shit! I can't remember what I did yesterday. I don't know how you remember that.
We're the last squad of motherfuckers that know what it's.
No, listen, bro, Joey has been my musical soulmate. We've been together for 24 years.
Yeah.
That's the one person, like every other band member from all the other bands, we're all still friends.
Yeah.
But the only one I'm still playing with is Joey.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, because
get rid of this guy, but he keeps coming around.
It's because he lives 5 blocks away. You and Joey come over. We're gonna record. Beat Rick up. Get him out of here. We're gonna put out some great fucking albums.
What is he screaming? He's just screaming.
He does it all the time.
Let's
do it.
How many shots has he had?
I'm gonna have to turn his mic down for now because he does this every time.
Turning my mic down.
He sounds like Mike Francesa. Mike Francesa, turn my mic on. Turn my mic on.
Let's get rock and roll music.
You guys are from the Midwest. You probably don't know Mike Francesa.
No, I know all of them.
Oh, the Pope?
The Pope?
The Pope, yeah, the sports Pope.
Yeah, I know Mike Francesa.
Yeah, Mike and the Mad Dog. They you know.
Well, I'm gonna have one more shot.
No, listen. I am a believe it or not, contrary to, you know, what people think. You know, people think, oh, musicians, they're into, like, you know, drugs and this and that, blah blah. I mean, yeah, I love weed and shit, but that's not a drug. But people think that you know, musicians don't. We love sports. Most musicians I know, we love sports. I'm a huge baseball, basketball, boxing, especially boxing. It's my favorite sport.
Water sports.
You know.
Yeah.
Fuck water sports. Like, that's not water. That's not a. I'm sorry. Those aren't sports.
Hey, I'll tell you this: are you a Knicks fan or are you a Jersey Nets fan?
First off, New Jersey Nets are the Brooklyn now. They're in Brooklyn now.
Yeah.
And I've always been a Knicks fan, but I always would root for the Nets. when they were in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Once they moved to Brooklyn, and it wasn't because they moved to Brooklyn, it's because they got Paul Pierce and not so much Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. I fucking hate Paul. Fuck Paul Pierce. Like, no, because he was, you know, when he was with the Celtics and this, now all he would ever do is taunt the Knicks and talk shit about the Knicks and this and that. You know, fuck Paul
shit
Pierce.
About the Bucks all the time. He talks shit about fucking Giannis. It drives me fucking nuts.
Like, but that's the thing. Paul Pierce just talks so much shit. It's like, dude.
But did you see his Instagram when he got
seriously? Like, if you were so fucking good, and he talks shit about LeBron, and it's like, dude, LeBron has dragged shitty teams to the finals.
Yeah.
You fucking needed Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen before you could even make the fucking playoffs. You were on the fucking Celtics by yourself, you fucking loudmouth cocksucker. You were on the fucking Celtics by yourself.
Yes.
You were on the Celtics. Like, Paul Pierce was on the Celtics by himself for fucking how many years, you know, and couldn't fucking win more than 35 games. And then he had to get winning players like Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. You know, before he could make the playoffs, you know, and it's like he's talking shit about LeBron. LeBron literally went to the finals one year with nobody. His best player, his second best player after him was Matthew Dellavedova. And it's like, you know,
Relic.
you know, again, look, I like I said, I'm a Knicks fan though, diehard, and I've suffered for the last 20 years being a Knicks fan.
Well,
but
back in the day though, John Starks dunking on Jordan in the playoffs. I was a huge Knicks fan when I in the 90s against Jordan.
Being a Knicks fan, I was a Knicks fan in the early 80s. I'm talking about I went to Bloomingdale's and waited in line to get Bernard King's autograph in 1984. So, like, the Knicks in the 80s were actually a lot of fun with Bernard King and Bill Cartwright and Trent Tucker and Rory Sparrow. Like, those are good teams. They just weren't like, they were like low-end playoff teams, you know, but Bernard King was the king of New York. He was scoring, you know, dropping 40 points every night. Like, until he got fucked up. Well, yeah, he tore his ACL, you know, in 1985. And well, no, actually, he won Comeback Player of the Year, but not for the Knicks. The Knicks, morons that they are, and this is why the Knicks.
Right?
This is why he went to the Bullets. When they were the Bullets. This is why the Knicks are fucking stupid. They drafted Patrick Ewing the year after fucking Bernard King tore his knee. Right. They started building up this team. Then they drafted Mark Jackson. Then they drafted Rod Strickland in 88. King comes back in 80. King comes back at the end of the 86-87 season. And while he's not the scoring, he was literally the scoring champion. He won the scoring title the year he tore his ACL. He played in enough games to he scored almost 33 a game, 32.9 points. And now the Knicks had Patrick, who was really by his second, third year coming into form. And they trade Bernard King for a bunch of nobodies. Like, and now imagine in 1991, the year 90-91 season, when the Knicks were, you know, in the midst of their big playoffs runs, but never being able to beat Jordan. Bernard King, really, it took him a couple more years, but by 89, 90, and 90-91, he really came back to form. He won Comeback Player of the Year. He finished third in the league in scoring, and he averaged 28.8 points per game, or 28.3 points per game, or something. Dude, it's a ridiculous number. It's a ridiculous.
I don't remember my wife's birthday, but you remember that?
Now, that year, the Knicks had, you know, like John Starks and Anthony Mason was coming up, and Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing, and they were a great defensive team. But Patrick was most of their offense. Patrick and a little bit of Starks. Imagine they had Bernard King's 28 points a game. I don't think Michael Jordan makes it to the finals that year. But no, the Knicks are fucking stupid, and they traded Bernard King. They always make the wrong move. oh, he's injured, he's never going to come back and be the player he once was. And he did. He came back and he was the player he once was.
Yep,
and they traded, and he actually came to the Garden and dropped 49 points in the Knicks' mouth that year.
Suck it.
Well,
49 points.
I remember the John Starks dunk over Jordan, which made me happy as fuck. I'm a Jordan fan now, but back growing up, I hated him. You know what I mean? And I wanted the Knicks to beat them all the time.
I was never a Jordan fan. Obviously, yes, I hated him. Like everyone who wasn't a Bulls fan hated, hated Michael Jordan because you know
he won.
But the thing is Michael Jordan. It wasn't that Michael Jordan was unbeatable. It was the combination of that team, that coach, and Michael Jordan had the best number 2, in my opinion, in the history in the history of the game. There's people. Scottie Pippen is the most underrated basketball player in the NBA.
Scottie Pippen's
and here's another fact. Here's another fact that's a travesty and disgusting. And this is disgusting. Michael Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year, and he's a very good to great defensive guard. Scottie Pippen's one of the best defenders in the history of the game. He never won a Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they gift wrapped a fucking Defensive Player of the Year trophy for Michael Jordan, but never awarded one to Scottie Pippen, who's twice, if not 3 times, the defender Michael Jordan was.
Tell him, brother.
Scottie Pippen is beyond dope when it comes to defense.
And people always talk about, you know, Scottie Pippen, the years that they won championships.
Yeah,
that 8 year and the 2 years in between when Michael went to play baseball for a minute.
Yep.
That 8 year stretch, Scottie Pippen averaged almost 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists.
How do you remember these? Are you the Rain Man?
I told you I love sports.
I love sports too,
but bro, listen, when it comes to I know way more about boxing than I do about baseball and basketball.
See,
you know.
I don't know a lot about boxing, but you know who's a huge boxing fan? Ari the Rugged Man. When I would talk to him, he knows his shit about everything boxing.
So does Vinny.
Oh no, listen. I'll bet you he and I could sit down.
Yep.
And yeah, because no, I'm talking about I go back in history. Like
yeah,
my dad put me on his knee when I was about 4.5 years old. And my dad was not a huge boxing fan. He was a baseball and basketball fan, but not a huge boxing fan. But he loved Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. And
he loved Sugar Ray Leonard. And he put me on his knee. And for Sugar Ray Leonard's first world title fight when he fought Wilfred Benitez, it was, 1979, summer of 79. And my dad, I was 4.5 years old. He put me on his knee and he goes, "That's Sugar Ray Leonard." He goes, "That's a bad motherfucker." And I was captivated because Sugar Ray Leonard he's a special fighter. And there's very few that era of boxing, that mid 80s, early to mid 80s, like even through the late 80s with Hearns, Hagler, Duran, Benitez, Leonard, Aaron Pryor, even though Aaron Pryor never actually fought those guys, he was a little smaller. And then Mike McCallum, the one guy, all those guys actually swerved Mike. Actually, you can see because everybody talks about today's fighters. Hey, this guy's Errol Spence is ducking Terrence Crawford, and Wilder and Joshua are ducking each other, and it's true, they are. They're all businessmen now. Whereas, you look at Hagler, Leonard, Duran, Benitez, Hearn. They all fought each other.
They all fought each other. Yeah,
they all fought each other multiple times.
Yeah, several times.
With the exception of Hagler. Hagler actually never fought anyone more than once because he usually just beat them up. Look, Hagler Hearns was 3 rounds of complete warfare.
Yep.
Of 2 of the most destructive punchers at middleweight, in history.
Yeah.
Hagler was a monster, dude. He was a fucking beast.
Yeah.
Go back and watch all of Hagler's fights. You never see that guy take a backward step.
Fuck no.
You really never do. And he's been hit by some huge punchers. John the Beast Mugabe was 26-0 with 26 knockouts when he fought Hagler, and the 2 of them stood toe to toe for 11 rounds and beat the dog shit out of each other.
You don't see that anymore.
And after 11 rounds, Mugabe just he couldn't hold up anymore. Yeah. Because Hagler's that tough. He's like old shoe leather tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm using that on the line now.
No, listen, dudes. There's some dudes like that today. Like that dude Triple G. Like he might not be as good as Hagler, like technically speaking, but he's similar.
Yeah.
A little bigger. But Triple G, bro, like his chin is iron. Them Eastern Europeans are cut from a different cloth. I'll tell you that right now. Them Eastern Europeans, like the ones
Serbians.
from the Eastern Bloc, from the Kazakhs, the Ukrainians, the Serbians, the Russians, like them dude, like them dudes are tough.
It's probably because they eat boot leather.
Yeah,
That's why. They're on a shoe leather diet.
Let me know about the.
But hey, look, a lot of people talk shit about Canelo Alvarez, and I talk shit about Canelo Alvarez too, over the years. But since the second Triple G fight, Canelo Alvarez he proved his chin in both Triple G fights.
Absolutely.
That guy also, like, he gets hit with a shovel and he doesn't wobble. Like, certain guys just you like this one Russian fighter, Ruslan Provodnikov. Go look him up. This guy gets hit with everything but the kitchen sink, and he never fucking wobbles.
I think
James Toney. I don't know if y'all remember James Lights Out Tony.
James Toney.
He was James Toney. He was an exceptional fighter.
Yeah.
This guy turned pro at middleweight and beat one of the, at the time, best middleweights, over the last close to a decade, named Michael Nunn. Then he lost to Roy Jones a few years later, like pretty badly. Like he wasn't knocked out or anything, but like Roy just was so quick and he barely touched him. And then Tony went on to win titles at cruiserweight, and then he went on to start beating up heavyweights.
Yep.
The guy turned pro at 160 pounds. And by the time he was like 35 years old, he was fighting guys who were 230 and 240.
I don't know how that's fucking possible. It's crazy.
It's the same reason why I give a lot of respect to Alvarez, because he lost to Mayweather, but he picked up so many fucking points to his game off of that fight.
You see, actually, I don't think that that's really what it is.
Oh my God.
think
Are
that.
you kidding me?
I think that Floyd beat Canelo in the way that, and everybody says Canelo has trouble with movers and boxers. No, he really doesn't.
Absolutely.
He generally finds the movers and boxers and breaks them down. Floyd didn't move much against Canelo.
No, but
He stood in the pocket and made Canelo miss in the pocket, deflected everything off of his elbows, shoulders, and gloves, and just fired back as Canelo was firing at him, faster than Canelo. And the thing is a lot of people say Floyd gave the blueprint to beat Canelo. No, he didn't. Floyd beat Canelo because only Floyd can beat Canelo that way. Only Floyd could have beaten Canelo that way.
You got to look at fights before Floyd and then fights after Floyd. Canelo Alvarez has an impeccable difference in his.
No, not really. Here's the thing.
His movement
what he's done better. Here's what he's done better since Floyd. He just places his punches better, and he's gotten bigger and stronger, of course, because he was 23 then, and he's 31 now. But he's not. His head movement's gotten a little better, but he's not. He's pretty much the same fighter. He's
man. I gotta disagree with you on that, just because his footwork is.
Listen, I've been watching the kid. I've been watching the kid for a long time. He's pretty much the same. It's like Julius Randle, like from the Knicks. People saying Julius Randle is this completely different player. No, he's the same player. He's just doing what he did before better. Like Canelo is the same fighter that he was before. He's not a different fighter now. He's never going to be a mover. He's a flat-footed counterpuncher. The difference is that he just places his punches better now. Whereas before he was pretty accurate, but now he's just more accurate. And he's gotten bigger and stronger. He was 154 pounds, then he's fighting at 168 now. And he's basically going to move up and probably fight at 175 and he's going to settle at 175, but he's moving up to steal a title at cruiserweight, which is a smart move, in my opinion.
I'll agree with you 98%. I still think 2% is fucking he gained.
Well, of course he's better. I mean, you're going to get better from 23 to 28, 29, 30, 31. But it's not that he's, like a world's different fighter. He's still the same guy that he was, still the same basic fighter that he was. He's just gotten a little better at it, bigger and stronger, and he's definitely smarter. But
he's matured.
If Floyd, like if he and Floyd, the thing is you can't say he and Floyd now because he's just too big for Floyd. He outweighs Floyd by way too much now. Like, you know, he's, you know, I mean, he'll throw punches to Floyd's elbow and Floyd will deflect it, but it's still going to hurt his elbow. It's, you know, Floyd's not going to be able to throw punches back because he's actually bruising up his arms, even though he's not landing clean to Floyd's head or body. Just by hitting his arms and shoulders, he's just bigger and stronger now.
You know what the big thing is? Diablo Fest, December 18th.
Yeah.
You need to come out. You need
Hold on.
Diablo Fest, December 18th.
Let me put the.
I will buy you Stellas and talk boxing with you all night.
Yep.
Here's the blueprint to beat Canelo. Watch. No, I'm telling you.
It's the
listen. Floyd is a one-of-a-kind fighter. If you want to have a chance of beating Canelo, watch the first Triple G fight. That fight was scored a draw. Triple G won that fight. The second fight, Canelo won. And he legitimately won that fight. The first fight against Triple G, they scored it a draw. 80 to 85% of all boxing pundits gave the fight to Triple G, myself included. 8 rounds to 4. And Triple G did it by having an impenetrable chin, a really good jab, and you have to punch with Canelo and walk him down. And it's very hard to do that now. Like, because a lot of these guys don't have the chin or the skills to do it.
Diablo Fest, December 18th.
Come out.
I've got a 6-pack of Stella waiting for you. And a bunch of boxing shit.
Oh, yes, talk boxing. We've been running.
Isn't Danny into boxing?
Boxing dudes
boxing dudes in the street. Yeah.
Danny's in the street. He's in the bum fights.
Yeah.
Danny, what? Do you remember those videos from the early 2000s?
Yeah.
That shit was bad.
Danny's in the street fights, man.
Yeah.
Danny will box a motherfucker up.
We do got to wrap this.
Didn't Chris Taylor Brown say he wanted to box Danny Diablo though?
Actually, I tried.
He wants to.
No, we tried to get it to happen. He said he did in public, but when we tried to make a contract, he wouldn't fucking sign it. So
he's a bitch.
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong? Seriously, why are you gonna talk that shit and then not like, dude? I haven't put on a pair of gloves in 20 years. I'll box Chris Taylor Brown right now.
I'm not a big.
I'll get up off the couch. I haven't put on boxing gloves in 20 years. I'll fucking box Chris Taylor Brown right now. I'll bet you I whip his ass.
I'm not a big gambling man, but I would have put my fucking paycheck on Danny. House
saving, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have put my paycheck on Danny.
Dude's a bitch. His mom's a bitch. And I'll fight him before Danny will. And Danny will kill him.
Max, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about everything today. We do got to cut this soon, so I really do appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure, bro.
I love you too, brother. We're gonna replay this on.
I got one more thing for you.
All right.
Cut it up. I'm gonna go home, put my 4-year-old daughter on my knee, and put a 40 below video on. And go. That's a bad motherfucker.
That's a bad motherfucker.
I like that.
Again, the replay on Monday.
I like
Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker. We've been talking to Max Illidge from 40 Below Summer. Max, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We talked about all the albums. We talked about touring. We really do appreciate it, man. Hopefully we can have you back on soon when you got some more music coming out. We can't wait to fucking bump it, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, before we, even record the record, one of these demo tracks we're going to leak. I'll definitely make sure that that you guys get one, before everybody else, and you guys can pump it, and moving forward, we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna stay in touch, and I'd be happy to come on your podcast. Anytime you want to talk about other shit. I mean, we could talk about politics. We could talk about
no politics. We can't talk about.
We can talk politics because. But here's the thing: the only way you come up with solutions is by talking politics.
True, but as long as it's not like social media politics, let's talk real shit.
No, I'm not. But listen, I'm not. I'm not a. a Trump basher or a Biden basher or this bet or a left. I'm a completely independent thinker as far as I'm definitely rooted in common sense, but I'm a completely independent thinker as far as I don't give a shit. You know, a good idea is a good idea. I don't care if you come from the left or the right. And as far as, you know, political figures and this and that, I mean, yeah, some of them I can't stand and make my skin crawl, and others, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not on a team. Like that's basically how
it's supposed to be a team. There's no such thing. Yeah, we're gonna.
Anyway,
but that's the whole thing. It's like people are stupid. They think they're part of it. They think they're part of a club or they're part of a team, and it's like, no, don't you idiots get it? Like they're trying to stay in power. They're trying to get reelected. They don't give a shit about your individual opinions, any of you. They don't. All they care about is playing to and saying whatever and placating you and saying whatever you want to hear, so you'll vote for them. They don't care.
You've ever met.
Actually,
they care about two. They care about two things.
Yeah,
They care about your vote.
Yep.
You know, like if you're just a regular person, you don't have a lot of money, they care about your vote. Other than that, they don't give a shit about you. If you're somebody that has money, they care about your vote, and then they care about you funding them.
Yep.
Sponsor.
Yep.
You know, I don't give a shit. I would never give a fucking. I would never give
Max Illidge in the Ruckus podcast.
I would never give a nickel to a politician.
No.
Never.
Yeah, fuck them guys.
All right, brother. Well, thank you very much, Max. I really appreciate it. It's been fucking awesome. Again, we just talked to Max from 40 Below Summer.
Nothing but love, bro.
All love, brother.
All love to everybody out there listening to. Like I said, you know, come find me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter or whatever. Like I said, you know, I'll talk shit all day long, and you know, just remember, 40 Below. We're here. It's been 20 something years, and we're gonna be here for a little while longer. So,
fuck yeah, brother.
You know, it's all about music and just, you know, enhancing life. That's basically what it is. Music enhances life.
Yes,
100%. It makes life better, and we're just all about making life better.
This is
Follow the sun.
The podcast is really just a recruiting center.
Follow the sun.
Come over here. Get out of your
Smoke weed till your lungs bleed.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we'll be back.
All right,
brother. Have a good night, man.
Peace
Have
out.
a good night, man.
Later, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we talked to Max Illidge from 40 Below Summer. This was an amazing podcast. We had a million things we talked about.
Always.
Brother, before we go, there was something you wanted to talk about, right?
Them homies. Avenues. Straight out of this motherfucker. Jeremy Kirk is the fucking artist of this fucking album. It's an amazing album filled with 11 tracks of punk rock. God damn it, they're from Wiretap Records and Spam Records overseas. You want to buy that shit in some other random ass internet money? They're from another place. You can buy their album. It's Avenues. They're from here. You love them. Jeremy Kirk's a goddamn artist.
You just ruined this.
The son of a bitch. Listen, I got a shirt. It's a 2X. I stretched it out to a 3X. I love this band, Avenues. Go to Bandcamp. Avenuesrocks.bandcamp.com. 11 tracks, Avenues. Great fucking band. I love you.
Go to force5records.com. Thank you guys very much.
Yes.
I do have a new t-shirt that you can't see behind him.
New t-shirt.
Pick it up.
New t-shirt.
Ruckus up your ass. Thank you guys very much.
Inside of your colon.
See you guys.
DRP. He's great.